Thank you for taking the time to share your story with the Wall Street Reporter's investor audience. We're going to be sending you the link to where your video can be found in the next day. And here is what it will look like on our webpage. As you can see, this is the front page of the site. So up top, we have our featured clients. Up top, we have our news makers on the right side of the page. And the leader section in the CEO interviews can be found right here in the middle of the page. That is exactly where your interview will be located. Now, a really smart way to leverage this interview is to put out a press release, which will link directly to the interview. And here is an example of what this could look like. This is a company, Logic, that put out a press release. So it says Logic CEO interview by Wall Street Reporter. Obviously, you could put out a headline and the topic of the interview. I'm sure your PR people can be quite creative, but the idea is you want to essentially recap what you said in that interview. So it's a great way to, again, re-engage with your existing audience, as well as you're obviously going to attract new investors as well. So since you invested the time to do this video interview, it's clear you're serious about reaching out to investors, engaging with investors, getting the word out on your stock, and helping to maximize shareholder value. Now, I'd like to share with you a proven system, exactly how Wall Street Reporter is doing that for our clients. I'm going to show you some case studies of how our clients have really gotten tremendous results and also raised millions of dollars, and how you can achieve exactly those same type of results. So let me share with you a couple of case studies. So this is a little bit about our track record. Wall Street Reporter has been around 25 years. We've worked with literally thousands of public companies. We've had many multi-baggers. We're actually known for countless stocks that we've introduced to investors that have increased by 10x or more. 10 baggers actually. I have a book called 10 Bagger Blueprint I wrote that reveals how we've done that. But here's a little bit about our track record. Here is some capital that's been raised by our clients just in the past 12 to 18 months. Again, this is purely as a direct result of increased liquidity, increased stock price. And again, the stock price is really the tail that wags the dog. When your stock is increasing, when you have liquidity, you can raise capital, you can do M&A. You know exactly how this works, right? So we have a bunch of companies over here. We've had, ranging from New York Stock Exchange, Fubo, that raised, actually, I think it was close to $1 billion. We have obviously Nextech AR, 60 million, Fans Unite, 50 million, CloudMD, over 100 million. Again, all as a direct result of the increasing stock price with Wall Street Reporter's proven system. Now, let me show you in just a little bit of how exactly this works. First, let me show you a couple of case studies of some success. CytoDyn's a stock that, again, increased 20x, 2,000%. Visibility Group, we introduced it at 17 cents. It went up 1,000%, 10x. Peak FinTech, I'm going to give you exact case study of how that worked. That went up 20x. Empower, 50x, 1,300%, 1,000%, 1,700%. Another one. Okay, so now, you're probably wondering, what is there a catch? What's the secret? Is this just some sort of, pump and dump thing? Is this like market manipulation? No, it's absolutely not any of that. We do things actually in a very, very simple way. So here exactly is the formula I have up on the screen. So it starts out like this. So we take your story, right? We take your story and we connect it with Wall Street Reporter's audience. So I have a bit of a mathematical formula here. So essentially, we connect with the Wall Street Reporter's audience. It's the quality of the audience and scale. Those are two important things. So quality, and I'll show you some of the people who are in our audience, also the size, the scale of the audience, and of course, our ability to keep increasing that audience, which I'll get into in a second also. Plus, on top of that, you add Wall Street Reporter's trusted name brand, which is extremely important because it's not just getting the word out to investors on your stock. It's not just about reaching a mass audience. It's also about being believed. It's about being effective when you tell your story. And there is a reason why, we've had these tremendous results for our clients, because the Wall Street Reporter brand has been around nearly 200 years, since 1843. So it's deep in the psyche of investors. This brand is deeply embedded in their minds, and it's a trusted brand. Now, we multiply that by the consistent follow-up. So it's the CEO interview updates. It's the news flow. It's rinse, wash, and repeat. And then we amplify that again by the social media force multiplier. That's really where the magic comes in. So we take the content that we create with you, we take the CEO interviews with your trusted brand of Wall Street Reporter, repeat that over and over again with news flow, with interview updates, and then it's amplified with the force multiplier of hundreds of social media influencers who each have, followings of, they could have 500 followers, could have 100,000 followers. We have hundreds of those. And they spread, they reshare, they spread the word out all over the internet, whether it's Reddit, whether it's Twitter, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, etc. Essentially, they, repaste your story, they share the story, they have their own following that, they look to Wall Street Reporter to find those stocks which have that massive upside potential that they could reintroduce to their audience. And really, it's magical. This is exactly how you've seen all those winners that I just showed you. Now, I'm going to walk you through a case study with Peak Fintech. This is a stock that increased 20x. The CEO was interviewed and he had a really nice quote. I'm going to break down exactly what he said. But again, this is a company that increased 20x from 70 cents post-split to $14, 2,000% increase, and they raised over $50 million, actually $55 million as of the time of this video. Okay, so let's kind of get into this. What happened? So in his interview, here's what Johnson Joseph said. That's the CEO. Results and ROI. This is what we deliver: results and return on investment. So Johnson said, nothing we did was as effective as a 3-month agreement we signed in August 2020 to appear on Wall Street Reporter's next Super Stock webcast. So that's our live stream program to engage with investors. And again, this guy has done everything. He's worked with different, IR firms, promoters, et cetera, et cetera. They spent 6-7 figures on different programs, and this is the best thing he's ever done. So now, in terms of reaching new investor audiences, quote from Johnson. So these viewers, for the most part, were investors that had never heard of the company before, including, to our surprise, some Canadian investors. People think that, we're Wall Street Reporters is only the U.S. No, it's actually probably 70% U.S., maybe even 60% U.S., 35% Canada, and the rest in mostly, really Germany is a big part of it, and then the rest of the world. What happens next? The stock goes viral. Quote continues. Our message seemed to resonate with them, and that began to spread across various social media platforms. We went from having about 2,000 shareholders at the end of 2019 to having over 17,000 shareholders. So he had an eightfold increase in the number of shareholders directly as a result of the Wall Street Reporter program. And I'll show you exactly what that program is. It goes far beyond just the interviews and live streams. It's actually quite involved, but it really tracks perfectly. So his shareholder base increased by 8x, 800%. Stock price increased 20x. That's about how it works. Again, it's the retail investor engagement. Of course, you also got institutional investors. And here's the magic. This is really where the magic happens. It's not just about the stock price. So the main thing is the stock is the tail that wags the dog. And here's how it worked for Johnson. So he says, our company successfully transitioned from being a penny stock focused on survival. I mean, again, they were just struggling, to a company meeting the listing requirements on NASDAQ. It actually did go on NASDAQ. And they went from having 5 employees to almost 70 employees. We've been to a stable and experienced talented executive. Again, you're able to attract talent. When your stock is increasing, you're able to attract talent. You guys know how that works. The skill sets. So they been able to become a global leader in data analytics, AI services, et cetera, et cetera. So that's a success story right there. Exactly. This is the magic of what we do. It's not just having your stock price increase where your shareholders make money. It's also about building your business, because when your stock price increases, you can raise capital to build your business. You can do M&A. Magical things can happen. And we've had that happen for many, many of our clients. So here's the program. There's a couple of components. There's multiple facets. So there is the basic CEO interview. Now we have 2 different formats. We have what you did, which is kind of you do it yourself. There's asks you the questions. We also have a live stream version. It's a slightly different program. Then we have your news distribution, extremely important. So not only do you engage with our audience, but then your news flow is the follow-up. That's what keeps them interested in your stock and converts them into buyers. More of that in just a second. Email distribution, almost 100,000 readers for our email newsletter each week, and the social media amplification. And again, the idea is we want to create as much content as possible for you that can then go viral. So let me share with you how your stock price really increases. Now, a lot of CEOs don't know this. A lot of people in the IR business don't know this. But here is how exactly this works. So every time you do a CEO interview on Wall Street Reporter, every time you do, let's say, a live stream, you're reaching an audience. You're reaching out to prospects. You're creating prospects, but only a small percentage of those people are actually going to buy your stock at that moment. Less than 0.5%. And that's great, because the idea is what we want to do is we want to get more of those people to add your stock to their watch list. That's right. We want to create watchers for your stock who are going to take action later on as they see more news flow. So in these watchers, they turn into buyers at higher prices. How does that happen? Very simply. So a lot of these investors, they see you for the first time, they don't know what to make of you. They put you on the watch list, and then they see, hey, does the company, keep on delivering positive news flow? Do they meet milestones? Then they may turn into buyers. So, percentage of those become buyers. Or some of them might be, technical investors. They may be waiting for a certain technical breakout. And when that happens, they buy the stock. So that pushes the stock price higher. Now, another thing is the watchers also support your stock at lower prices. How does that work? Well, a lot of investors may think your stock is, they may think it's too expensive where it is right now. Very possible, right? But they'll put you on their watch list. And for example, let's say your stock drops for whatever reason. All of a sudden, those investors become that support level. So you see, really, the market, it's an order book. That's really how it works, right? So the idea is we want to create watchers for your stock. Investors are going to be buying you at higher levels based on milestones and technical breakouts. And as well, investors potentially coming in to support your stock at lower levels. Now, the more your watch list increases, and it will increase every time you show up on Wall Street Reporter, it's going to increase just like it did for Johnson Joseph. You saw what happened. Every time your watch list increases, that's also obviously it's going to drive the liquidity, the trading volume in your stock, and trading volume always is a predecessor to increasing stock prices. The case studies I showed you, all stocks that went up 10x, 20x, even 5,000%. All those companies, they all followed a formula that I gave them. And here is what it is. And if you follow this formula, you will get very strong results. The formula is this. You got to show up for an interview twice a month. You got to engage with investors 2 times a month. They got to see you twice a month. Then you need to put out 3 news releases each month. It could be, news about general, how your company fits in the industry. It could be, real news about, new products, new customers, etc., sales increases, whatever the news is. And if you do that consistently, if you do 2 CEO interviews, 3 press releases, you do that consistently for 6 months, you're going to have magical results in your stock price. Again, all those companies, they increase 10x. Am I saying that your stock is going to increase 10x? I can't guarantee you that, but I will guarantee you, I do guarantee that your stock will at least double. If your stock does not double within 6 months, I'm going to give you the next 6 months for free. That's a guarantee. Nobody else does that type of guarantee. Now, I'm going to do that for you with our Ultra program. So we have 2 programs I'm going to share with you. A basic program, which is very similar to what you just did. Then we also have our live stream program, which is a little bit more involved. Obviously, it's a little bit more expensive. And that's the Ultra program. If you do that program, 6 months, you do the press releases. I guarantee you that your stock will at least double. And if it doesn't, it must be something that we're doing wrong. And I will give you the next 6 months for free. So that's the guarantee. So here's how this works. CEO interview. You're going to share your story in your own words. what's great about these interviews, it takes you beyond that boring, dry press releases. It allows investors really to get a sense of your leadership philosophy, to see you in action, to get a sense of your passion for the business and for delivering results. It's really powerful. They want to, it takes you beyond just an anonymous stock ticker. That's really the magic of what we do. It takes you beyond an anonymous stock ticker. It personalizes the story. That's what makes these things so powerful, especially when you do our live streams and you can engage with the audience with Q&A and all of that great stuff. Okay, so who's our audience? High net worth retail investors, fund managers, analysts, family offices, a huge part of it. Brokers, bankers. By the way, that's a big thing also. We have a lot of bankers in the audience, hedge funds that are always looking to raise capital for the companies. So if they see that you're on the move, they will reach out to you, and you're going to have your phone ringing off the hook. People who will want to give you money. Now, you want to make sure that you have those conversations when your stock is increasing, so that way you can negotiate from a position of strength, just like our clients that you saw the case studies of. Now, so again, you get the front page promotion. You saw their websites. So we have thousands of investors come to the front page every day. Again, and your company is going to be featured throughout the sites. Every time they click on one of the stories, they see you as a result. It's a great thing. Guaranteed news coverage, extremely important. So again, every time you have news, we're going to put it on the front page of Wall Street Reporter. Your news is going to be featured on the front page of Wall Street Reporter. It's going to be distributed to our social media following on Twitter, Stock Twits, and also our email blast. So again, that's the whole idea is we want to engage investors, build people, put people on the get people to put you on their watch list, and then your news flow is what's going to push them over that edge into becoming potentially buyers of your stock. Email newsletter, again, that's our email newsletter. So again, the force multiplier is the social media. So again, it's not just our website. The idea is we want to create content that then gets spread, it gets shared by people in our audience all over, whether it's investor forums, places like Investor Hub, COCA, Yahoo Finance. Again, they share it on Twitter, Stock Twits, Reddit, everywhere. There's new places opening all the time. And your story, your videos are going to be all over the internet, and that is part of what makes these things really work. So here is an example. How does your stock go viral? Let me zoom in over here. A couple of screenshots I have here. So influencers, evangelists, they start talking about your stock. They start spreading the word about your stock all over forums. And essentially, that's how Peak FinTech, that's how that stock went up 20x. Because, it's not just the people in our audience who, they look what we do, but it's also, we have a lot of these guys, they have their own followings, and they take your video, they put it on their website, they put it on their own YouTube channel or Twitter, whatever it is, and say, hey, I found this great company. Or they might do their own video on it. But the idea is that Wall Street Reporter serves as a discovery platform for these influencers. And again, that is exactly how all our stocks increase 10x, 20x, 50x, and more. They go viral through these ideas. With our premium program, the live stream is extremely powerful. It's a high energy engagement with investors. We can have anywhere from a couple hundred to a couple thousand investors in that audience. And again, your audience will grow every time you show up. So there's Q&A. Again, you're able to engage, answer questions to the audience, and it's extremely, extremely powerful. It really builds your personal brand in the financial community, in the investor community. It really, and nobody does it better than Wall Street Reporter. Look, we're the guys who invented this. We actually invented the CEO interview. That's right. If you check, in 1997, we were the first people online doing CEO interviews. We were doing them in audio, then video, then live streams. And the reason why Wall Street Reporter is much more effective than anybody else by an order of magnitude, I'll give you the secret in just a minute. The hint, it has something to do with that brand that's 200 years old. So here's another thing that we do for our premium clients, a multi-ticker. So essentially, we take we take a news story, put it out with a couple of other companies that have a synergistic fit, and now all of a sudden you're able to reach 50,000 eyeballs when we do this. Uh, I can explain more about that in a phone call because it's a little bit involved. Wall Street Reporter, the advantage. Why is Wall Street Reporter so much more effective than anybody else on the planet? Look, we've been around 200 years. It's the oldest financial media brand in the world, literally. Um, the Economist was founded 1843 as well. Wall Street Journal, 1892, I believe. So we're actually the oldest. So again, investors associate Wall Street Reporter with high performance stocks. They associate Wall Street Reporter with stocks that double, triple, increase 5x, 10x, 10 baggers. Again, I'm the guy that wrote the book, The 10 Bagger Blueprint. Why? We have a system that works. So investors associate us with high performance. Any company associated with the Wall Street Reporter, that halo effect rubs off on you. It's just the way it works with brands. Um, Now, investors look to us, again, for that next winner, and that's how you benefit. Uh, Quick slide here, the power of brand. I mean, look, why do these logos increase the value of anything you put them on? What is it worth for you to be able to raise, $10 million like, our clients have with, minimal dilution? Again, you don't want to raise money when your stock is flatlining, when it's in the toilet. You want to raise money when your stock is up 300, 500%, when it's on the increase, when there's massive demand for your stock. Then you could also, what is it worth to be able to attract the top talent, that those top executives that can help you take your business to that next level. Again, the stock is the tail that wags the dog. You saw what we did for Peak FinTech. Johnson Joseph told you in his own words how they went from 5 employees who they could barely get to, 75 employees, top talent that they were able to get. And again, this, what's it worth to be able to crush your competition and really be all you can be? Look, you have one shot at life. One shot at life. Make it count. Do something great. Start with this. Make your stock great. Maximize your stock price. So let's compare our programs. So we have a couple of different programs. Let me dive into. Okay, so here's what you get. We have 2 programs. Let me break it down for you. Both are 6-month programs. So we have our Discovery program, which is 59 grand for 6 months. And that is, here's what you get. So you get the CEO interview, very similar to what you just did. It's kind of a self-serve format. And by the way, you can do as many of those as you want per month. Every time you have news, you are welcome. We encourage you to do one of those interviews, and we're going to give you a different type of format to do. But again, you can do those interviews, and it'll ask you a couple of different questions to explain your news story, again, in your own words. And it takes you beyond that boring, dry press releases. Now you have a video clip with the Wall Street Reporter brand that engages with investors, and it goes viral all over social media. You do 5 of those a month. You're welcome to do 5 of those a month. It's going to have massive results. All your news gets distributed to our audience. Email blast every week. We do like about 3 email blasts. All your news goes in those email to reach our entire audience. Social media amplification. Now, we also have our Ultra program, which is a little bit more money, but here is the difference. Here is what you get. You get all the other stuff, plus you get 2 live streams per month. And that is what Peak FinTech was getting, PKK, the stock that went up 20x. You get 2 live streams a month where you engage with investors. Plus, there's also a video feature and amplification. It's a kind of a custom video that we do. We drive a massive amount of traffic to that, and the idea is that goes viral. I'll send you some examples of what that looks like. You also get the multi-ticker, which again puts you in the context of other leaders in your sector, and that reaches about 50,000 eyeballs per time or even more. And we also give you the guarantee that your stock will at least double within 6 months if you do that program. Again, if you show up twice a month, you put out 3 press releases, your stock price, if it doesn't double, I'll give you the next 6 months for free, because it means we did something really wrong. Because I've never, ever seen a stock not double if a company did that formula. I call this the easiest decision you could ever make. It's a no-brainer decision. If your stock price goes up 5x, if you're undervalued, now you're trading 5 times higher, and you're able to raise $30 million. I mean, what is it worth to be able to raise $30 million at a price that's 3 or 5 times higher than where you were before? Because if you knew for a fact that you could increase your valuation by 100 million, 50 million, 500 million, and by the way, those clients, they increase their valuation by 50, 100 million, 500 million, even $1 billion. Fubo, over $1 billion. How much is it worth? Again, how much would you invest if I told you for a fact that you could increase your valuation, you can create $50 million in value. Your stock has a valuation of 25 million today, and with our program, you're going to be worth 75 million. What is that worth to create $50 million of value? Is it worth $1 million? I think so. It's a pretty good ROI, and we're not charging $1 million. We're charging, 125 grand or 59 grand if you do the basic program. The bottom line is Wall Street Reporter will give you a proven system. It's a system that works. We've done it for countless companies. It's a proven system to get you liquidity, helping you increase your stock price, create liquidity, create shareholder wealth. And it's an asymmetrical result. It's asymmetric because let's say you invest 125 grand and your stock value increases by 50 million. Do the math. Is that what's the ROI from 125 grand to create $50 million in value? We've done it for countless companies, and I look forward to helping you maximize your shareholder value. So please get in touch, and I look forward to making you our next success case study.